Hey, what's going on? We're back here with the Jeep Grand Cherokee WK2, doing more of our maintenance, the maintenance series, and getting everything ready after I recently purchased this. I'm Kevin, and this is Overland Recon. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Otherwise, if you're a regular, welcome back. So today we're going to do a brake flush, brake fluid flush. It definitely needs it, so let's get into it. All right, so like usual, I wanted to show what I'm going to use today for the brake fluid flush. And what I've got is the AMSOIL brake fluid .3.4. The Jeep needs a .3, so we're good. And this is on the AMSOIL site, this is what they recommend. So then what I'm going to use, I tried to figure out how I was going to do this. What I'm going to use is this device, which is from Capri Tools. Or Capri Tools. And basically it's hooked up to an air compressor and will pull the fluid through. The other kind of tool I was looking at was more of a pressure one, and it would sit in the engine bay, fill it, depressurize it, and it would push the fluid through. I didn't like that because all the new fluid was sitting in there, and didn't really want to waste any fluid, so decided to go this route. I've got an air compressor, and it seems like it'll work really well, that it'll just pull the fluid through. So that should work well. Wasn't sure how much I'd need, so I've got 3 here. I've actually got a couple more, and if I've got extra, I'll just do one of my other cars as well. So just, again, didn't want to not have enough, and it definitely needs it. And yeah, we'll when I get this set up, I'll show you how it works. Okay, so we got the hood open on the Jeep, and this is where the brake fluid goes. And you can probably already see this is pretty dark. I'm guessing this has never been changed. I'm gonna go ahead and take the cap off here and look down in, but yeah, that's pretty dark. So I think this is definitely due or overdue for service. So that's what we're gonna do. Basically what we do is you use the Capri Tools, you stick the hose in this end and remove all the old fluid that you can out of here, and then fill this with new fluid. And then you go to each of the wheels and you hook up the compressor, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But it will pull the fluid through, and that flushes the system. And what we'll do, we'll want to start the furthest from the master cylinder. So since that's over here on the front driver side, we'll start with the rear passenger. We'll go to rear driver, and then to front passenger, and then lastly front driver. I do have it up on the ramps and stands still. That is not required, but I still just have it up from when I was doing the diffs. So just made it a little easier for me. So that is what I'm going to do. We'll get everything kind of set up here. I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me with the air compressor, so I may have to talk over it later, but this is where we're going to start, and we'll get it all set up and we'll start again. All right, so we're kind of set up here. What we're going to do is, this is the drain hose. We're just going to push this in. It clips. That's good. Just trying to hold in, do all this one-handed. Then I've got my compressors ready. Hopefully it doesn't kick on again. It just filled up. We'll just clip this in the back. There we go. Okay, so we've got that hooked up. And basically the first thing we want to do, I mean, all it does is once you get ready to bleed it, you just press down on the handle here. What we're going to do is drain this, and this is what it recommends. I do have the compressor set at 60 psi, which is within spec. So I am just going to see if I can hold this. It says basically stick this on here and drain the old out. So that's what we're going to do. All right, guys. So that didn't quite go as planned. Debated about whether or not to even finish and post this video. Decided to go ahead and do it for a couple main reasons. One, to show that things don't always go as you expect or as you plan. You can plan a bunch and it just may not work. So wanted to show that, and show that you can keep working through it, right? So when something doesn't work, you move on to the next step and just see what else you can do. So anyway, I'm going to go through what all happened and what I did to ultimately solve it. So that's what we're going to do here now. So where I had left off was we were trying to do the brake fluid swap, trying to do a full exchange. Was using a device to pull the, using the Capri device to pull Capri device to pull the brake fluid through. It was working. It pulled some through. I was kind of pouring and filling, topping off on the front end here because it was pulling all the way to the back, the farthest brake caliper away from the master cylinder. And again, it was pulling brake fluid through. Didn't feel like it was getting really clean. And it just seemed really slow. So a couple things I think it did wrong were, as it's pulling it through, it wanted some consistent, pressure or vacuum, right, to pull, from the air compressor, because it is, air compressor assisted. And I'm thinking maybe mine was a little too weak. I've only got a pancake air compressor. It doesn't do, as much as a big one. And so I don't know that I was keeping the proper consistent, again, pressure or vacuum, to it. The other thing was I was trying to do it without taking the wheels off. And in hindsight, I think that may have been another issue. Basically, I was laying underneath the Jeep, reaching through, loosening the bleeder valve. I had the hose on, and that was okay. But I kept having to run back and forth and check, and I would close it and let the air compressor fill up again, or fully repressurize. So anyway, it just didn't seem like it was working well. Went ahead and switched from the rear passenger to the driver rear brake caliper, and couldn't loosen the bleeder valve. Again, I think that's probably more anything. I didn't want to strip it or ruin that bleeder valve, and I didn't have the wheels off, so I just didn't have a real good angle on it. I probably should have just taken the wheels off, and I didn't. But given that it wasn't going well, I decided to stop and give it a test drive. Brakes felt just a touch soft, not bad in any way, or not too bad really, but just that touch soft. So I did take it up to State Road Auto, where I did the trans flush or trans service and the coolant flush, and they took care of it. So I wasn't able to video that. When I do the brakes on the GTI, I'll probably try to get that done, but I want to explain what they did. So they had a pretty cool setup. Basically, they did a push and pull method, where I was only doing the pull method, at the individual brake caliper. So they hooked up all four, pulling, and then they also had a push at the master cylinder, at the the brake fill reservoir. So they were doing both. They ran a cleaner through it, right? Cleaned it all out really well, and then used the brake fluid that I provided and filled it back up, bled them all out, made sure everything was good. Again, all at once and just done. So really affordable price. Did it, and it was just an afternoon, so it was only there for like a day. I just dropped it off in the morning and picked it up that afternoon, but only really took them like an hour or so. So no big deal, and it's all done. And the brakes were just immediately, again, that touch of softness I felt, gone. Brake fluid, obviously really clean. You probably saw that I showed how dirty it was, super clean, brake fluid. So now I know, again, one of the things I wanted to do was do replace all the fluids, given that it was used and the mileage. And so that's just one more thing done. So really happy with that being done. Disappointed I didn't get to do it myself or finish it myself. But again, wanted to kind of talk through that and explain kind of what happened. Been driving great, did a little bit of trips with it. Gonna get everything caught up on that and get some more videos out. So we're getting close to the end of the maintenance, right? We've got basically plugs, and I'm gonna do a PCV valve next, and then wrap up with the oil change. And then I think everything will be done. One thing I didn't mention, I meant to and wanted to, is while it was there, since I had just finished the front and rear diffs and the transfer case, I just had them check them. Transfer case and rear diff was fine. The front, as I suspected, was about 0.2 quarts low, which really fell in line with what I thought. I didn't think I had enough in it, but it came flying out, or not flying out, but it came, you know, the fluid came back out as if it was full, and I tried it again. It was doing the same thing, so I was like, well, it's not enough, but something seems off. So whether it was maybe an air pocket or something, or it just needed to kind of cycle the gears, when they got it, they checked that one and they said it was about 0.2 low. So they topped it off. So again, I provided that fluid, they just added it for me. And actually they did that at no charge. So pretty nice. But yeah, everything else, the transfer case and the front and rear diffs basically done. And we are good to go. So, any questions, let me know. I'm trying to make sure I'm putting all the information and torque specs, things like that, in the video links. Any questions, happy to answer them. You know, what you'd like to see next, let me know. I have to go through that. I'm still trying to figure out wheels. I think I'm gonna try something first, even though I'm kind of a little hesitant, and I think it's a little controversial. There's a lot of discussion about it, but I'm gonna try something, just trying to find the right thing, because I do like the wheels that are on it. Just want a little bit better stance, and I love some all-terrain instead of all seasons on it. So I think that'll do it for today. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.